Good morning, team. Today, Powell speaks at 1 o'clock Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern. Powell speaks. So, a very key, important day to look at the charts, to overall be patient and wait for this man to say something that's going to basically persuade the market to move either way. As you guys know, the market has been very range bound lately. So, we definitely need some type of direction. Although we did have an intermediate bounce, if we're looking at the 180 day, we are opening it up. I believe up $1.50. So definitely want to watch to see what's going to happen. Overall, it does look like the SPY is on an uptrend. Remember, as long as it stays above that 180 day, we can confirm this is a bullish trend until that 180 day is violated. So make sure you guys pay attention for that. Looking at the 20-day RSI, 20-day RSI is a little bit more on the overbought side. MACD did cross over to the downside yesterday, but you can see we basically crossed back above and we are basically looking like a ascending wedge this morning. So key area we want to watch. We want to watch to see if we break this 448.60 zone. This was a previous support in the past. Once we break that, we could start basically pushing up towards 450. If not, and we start to pull back down, watch for the 447 break, and we could start basically going down towards 445 on the SPY. Let's jump over towards the 1 year. I want to see what that's looking like. Remember, the 1 year SMA is sitting at 450. This can act as a resistance. So definitely want to be cautious of that 450 zone, because if we can't break that, we could end up basically making a bigger low coming back down towards maybe even 434 retest. So keep that in mind. Jumping over to the star of the show is basically going to be Tesla. Tesla basically had earnings yesterday. It was a nice earnings beat. You can see the stock basically went from like 978 or something like that, and it's sitting at 950 this morning with room to go on the RSI. MACD has crossed over quite a bit from the 13th and is basically on its upward trend right now. As basically the stock beat earnings, of course, we're going to get some upgrades over here. You can see that Tesla's basically been upgraded. TD's acting up. Tesla has been upgraded to 1175. Some people are upgrading it to 375. So some people had low expectations for Tesla, but let's see what happens. Overall, some more upgrades and better upgrades should come through. But I do think Tesla is going to see some upside momentum, especially since there's a lot of Tesla bulls out there. So definitely watch for that 1053 break or 1055, and then we could start pushing up towards 1073. 1073 was a previous resistance before. This is the 20-day 1 hour. So if we do start to come back down, there is some type of support on these 1 hour candles at 1041, and we could basically start to test that 1030 level, which is also the SMA and the trade line. And if we break that, we can start going back down towards 1,000. But overall, it looks like there's going to be some upside momentum. Remember, Tesla normally moves with the overall market. So if Powell says anything, that is going to be basically bearish for the overall market. We could have some type of pullback. The RSI on the 20-day is a little bit more on the overbought side. If we jump over towards the 180-day, there is room on the RSI. We are above that trade line. So as long as we hold above like 1030, 1027, we can continue this uptrend. So make sure you guys watch that overall throughout the day. Make sure we hold above that trade line, because then we could continue that bullish trend, even if we do pull back, right? So keep that in mind. Next one we want to talk about is Netflix. Netflix had a crazy day yesterday. I see some of you guys made some good profits. It's wild. The stock basically dropped from 334, and we basically started to hover over at 212. If you watch some of our old videos, we were saying that, hey, Netflix was hanging around 333, and it looked like it basically, if we looked at the 180 day, you can see Netflix hasn't been doing too good. It went from 700 to 300. Now, I always say you could always tell how a company is doing by looking at the 180-day chart. And that's very clear that you can see throughout the 180 days, Netflix has been basically on a downward trend. So what's going to happen with Netflix moving forward? That's the key question, right? RSI is very oversold over here, which typically means the stock is more in favor for a bounce, right? RSI is oversold not only on the 4-hour, but it's oversold on the 20-day, right? But if you know how to read the RSI, as long as it stays blue, we could continue a downtrend. So you can see it's rejecting that 20-day trade line, and that's exactly what you want to see if you're a bear. It is going to be considered a high risk short position. You have your 20-day crossed up. Maybe if this thing crosses back down, then you could enter a safe short position. At any moment, Netflix could basically find some type of support around this 212 zone and basically break 230 and basically shoot back up towards 250, since there's no real support or resistance zones over here. You can see this is like a straight shot. So that is perfectly possible. And then it could just bounce and come back down, even if you're a bear, right? So a stock has to make more room. And right now it doesn't really have too much room to the downside. Yeah, we could break that 212, but how much further can it go, right? It could go to 200 and it snaps back at you. It's not really a safe trade, right? So make sure you guys are very cautious. Set your alerts. I know we're all watching Netflix. We're all watching Tesla as well too, especially after these crazy moves. But make sure you have a plan before you enter. And right now, short position, although it's favorable, it's a little bit more on the high risk, right? So watch for that 212 break down towards 200, use a tight stop loss, and watch for that 230 towards 250. So that's going to be it. Today is a Powell day, so I'm trying to keep the watch list a little light. Anything he says will move everything and rearrange everything. So keep that in mind. He does speak around 1 o'clock. Typically, volume is a little bit lower on Powell days before he speaks. And as soon as he starts speaking, the SPY moves like it has earnings. So make sure you guys are very patient today. Use a stop loss. Only trade high probability setups. And I'll see you guys in the chat room later.